welcome to Weston High School's commencement for the class of 2020. Today we recognize 3 students who have committed themselves to serving their country. In honor of their service and patriotism, we recognize Christopher Lewis, enlisted member, United States Marine Corps; Zachary Rossi, Naval ROTC Scholarship recipient, Purdue University; and Elise Russell, United States Naval Academy Class of 2024. Please join them in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets ready, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Parents, relatives, friends, Weston High School faculty and staff, and above all, graduates. On behalf of the Weston Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. McCursey, Principal Ms. Wolak, Assistant Principals Ms. Cavoni and Mr. Phillip, Athletic Director Mr. Berkowitz, and Class of 2020 Advisors Mr. Richatelli and Mrs. Holmes, I would like to welcome you to our commencement ceremony. Friends, the journey has finally come to an end, and it's quite underwhelming. I recognize that. I know this is not the senior year that we signed up for. We were hoping for a prom, a senior trip, and a graduation where handshakes aren't frowned upon. The craziness this year brought has destroyed all hopes of this traditional senior year. But now we have something even greater, a shared memory. This collective craziness that we will not only have lived through, but prevailed through, is something that we will tell children of our own someday. According to thesource.com, traditional is synonymous with conventional, and conventional is synonymous with ordinary. And according to dictionary.com, ordinary is defined as having no special aspects. When you look at it from this perspective, of course we can have a traditional senior year. Look at yourself. Look around you. Think of your classmates and think of your teachers. Of course we can't be traditional, for that implies that we have no special aspects. That can't be us. In fact, I would call us the exact opposite. I would call us all extraordinary individuals. Many of you, like myself, have been privy to Weston Public Schools since kindergarten. I'd say this itself makes us extraordinary. We have all grown up together, achieved together, laughed together, and even learned a little bit together. All this togetherness has fostered amazing friendships. Friendships that I am certain will last a lifetime. So today, we celebrate the inherent togetherness between us and the friendships among us. Yes, we may be in separate vehicles, constrained by both the number of seatbelts and an unprecedented virus. But we have never been closer together. After 13 whole years of studying, asking friends for help on a test or with a moral dilemma, and yes, having some fun, we all made it. Together. Today, I ask of you one thing. To enjoy this moment, because there is never going to be another one like this, and shortly, this moment will be over. Now bear with me here. I want you to imagine your day yesterday. Regardless of what you did, how much can you truthfully remember? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Maybe even 15 minutes? Now think about the day before that. Even less, I imagine. What about last week? I doubt I can put together more than 30 minutes of fragments in total. Now, I don't have too much time here, but imagine I went further through this exercise, asking you to give me a numeric figure of all you can remember since your own birth. What I'm getting at here is that, unfortunately, we as human beings are quite bad at recalling both distant and recent events and memories. It is very likely that you will not remember too much of this graduation, although I doubt we would remember any of it if we weren't in such a unique situation. So for that, I ask that you enjoy it in full, because if you don't, there's really no way you'll ever get to experience it. I ask that you forget that things aren't as they used to be, or that you have to clean your room when you get home, or that you have an 8-hour shift at Peter's Market, because that stuff can wait. I promise you all that. So friends, enjoy the day. Enjoy those around you. Enjoy with the air we breathe and the life we were given, and the graduation that we have so much deserved. We all made it. Congratulations, class of 2020. I hope you're proud of yourselves.
Good afternoon and congratulations to all of our graduates. It is my honor to present to you the salutatorian of the class of 2020, Kelvin Green. Through his pursuits both inside and outside of the classroom, Kelvin has made a great impact during his time at Weston High School. His teachers describe him as brilliant yet humble, accomplished but unassuming, one who learns for the sake of learning. And he is ambitious, inspirational, and enthusiastic to meet the challenges of the world around him. And so I say congratulations on behalf of the Weston Public Schools to our salutatorian, Kelvin Green.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the class of 2020, salutations. My name is Kelvin Green, and it is my honor to welcome you, Weston students, families, teachers, staff, and administrators, to this unique commencement celebration. The next 4 years are sure to bring independence and adventure, which should be relished by students and parents alike, since it won't be long before we return home to live in your basement. Now, I know that this is not the ceremony that many of you had hoped for, or even envisioned. It is only natural to yearn for what could have been, for the prom we could have attended, for the trip to Six Flags we could have enjoyed, for the chance to coast through the halls of high school, college acceptance in hand, breathing easy, perhaps for the first time in 4 years. In early March, our aspirations abounded. Everyone had a plan. Some had devised clever pranks for April Fools. Sports teams were gearing up to defend state championships. Most were looking forward to spring break, followed by prom. And I, for one, had high hopes that I'd finally find the locker I was assigned freshman year. Then, overnight, the world changed. The novelty of a 3-hour school day, hosted on Google Meets and attended by disheveled teenagers still in their pajamas, if not their beds, quickly dissipated. Teachers struggled to maintain order, not of the online class, but of their unruly toddlers, which, as I think about it, is really no different than a high school classroom. As the shutdown wore on, it became clear that the pranks would not be sprung, championships would not be defended, prom gowns would not be purchased, and I would never find my locker. In short, we, the class of 2020, were deprived of our senior experience. But in this sudden interruption of our best-laid plans, we collectively encountered one of the first lessons of adulthood. Reality does not always meet expectations. A pandemic may have robbed us of the iconic festivities we anticipated, but it gave us an opportunity to explore new interests and talents, a chance to put into practice the ethos of Weston High School, and to see firsthand how flexibility, fellowship, and feeling help to support our resilience. Rather than mourn for the loss of our senior year, I invite you to reflect on all we have accomplished. How our Weston experience has taught us to collaborate, adapt, innovate, and problem solve. How we, as a community, have come together in a time of common need, and how, by acting in unison, our behavior can dramatically change the world. With this reflection, we can see how much we have to be grateful for. Grateful for our teachers, for challenging us and encouraging us to take intellectual risk. Grateful for our administrators and staff for providing guidance and a safe, effective learning environment. Grateful for our families and parents for their unconditional love and support. And grateful for each other as peers for the many years of fraternity and friendship. But above all, we must be grateful for knowledge. Not just the academic knowledge gained by 4 grueling years of high school education, but the knowledge of our own strength and potential, attained as a result of our personal achievements and failures, and solidified by our collective sacrifice during this profound crisis. It is with this sense of gratitude and self-awareness that we, the class of 2020, will enter the world. The ills in our society did not begin with the coronavirus, nor will they end with it. Our generation has inherited a multitude of challenges, ranging from adverse changes in climate, to systemic racial inequities, to political polarization, to novel disease. If COVID-19 has taught us anything, it is that in an uncertain world, there is one certainty. We have the power to create meaningful change. It is up to us, the class of 2020, to forge that proverbial path, to bridge the divide, to reinvent society and heal the earth. Because, if we don't, in the infamous words of Weston's own Dr. Kingston, we're toast. Once again, welcome to the commencement ceremony of the class of 2020, and to my peers and their families, a heartfelt congratulations.
Before I begin my remarks, I would like to take a moment in my capacity as a representative of the Weston High School faculty to make an important recognition. The Faculty Key Award, presented annually, seeks to recognize the senior who, in his or her years at Weston High School, has made the greatest contribution to the academic and spiritual growth of the school, and at the same time has used his or her opportunities for maximum self-realization and personal growth. In recognition of these achievements, as determined by a vote of the entire faculty of Weston High School, the 2020 Faculty Key has been presented to Chelsea Greenberg. Congratulations.
Class of 2020, friends, I'm honored to be speaking for your graduation. These have been trying times, and it's not always easy to know how to handle it all. But I think stories can lift us up, and I wrote you one. On the surface, it's about 4 travelers, a bridge, a ravine, and a city. I tell you now that the travelers represent you, and all young people of the world today. And I hope this story shows you how strong you are, and how much good there is still to find and to do. 4 travelers, one from the west, one from the east, one from the north, and one from the south, came at various times on the same day to a small inn at a crossroads. As the travelers arrived, each was weary and was welcomed by a humble innkeeper to stay the night, and was brought to a common room to sit by a fire and share tales. It seemed that all of these travelers, each from a different direction on different roads, had not long ago come to the same magnificent bridge spanning a deep, rocky ravine. The bridge was the only way across the ravine, as the cliff sides were steep and the water below tumultuous and rapid. But no matter, each had thought, the bridge appeared to be a pleasure to walk across, strong, well-paved, shining with sunlight and promise of an easy passage. Strangely, no sooner had each seen the bridge Then it began to collapse. Without warning, it fell from its steady place and crumbled down into the water. All reported that they'd felt the rumbling break and the silent emptiness that followed. All recalled having felt it at the same stage of their journey. Though they'd come from the four corners of the world, somehow they all came to the bridge at once and saw the moment of collapse together. They talked through the night, amazed and now keenly bonded. They talked of what they'd done next. When the bridge fell, the first traveler had responded and discovered grit, and with little hesitation climbed down into the ravine to find a way across. The second traveler had responded and discovered ingenuity and searched the near side of the ravine for trees and vines that might be woven into a new bridge. The third traveler had responded and discovered charity and did the simple deeds that one could do for anyone who was around and in need. The fourth traveler had responded and discovered stillness and sat down to see what could be understood and transmitted from patience and contemplation. And so all four had come to do something unforeseen that helped. And the bridge was in time rebuilt by the work of many hands. The travelers didn't take this for granted. The new bridge was more glorious than the one that had collapsed because those who had seen the crumbling knew what it meant to be without a clear way. The new bridge was made by people who had looked into the rocky ravine and fully knew the pain of an absent bridge and would never forget and were grateful. And now these travelers talked of how they were on their way to build a verdant city. It seemed all felt they were being called to it, to do some great work with the new power they discovered in themselves when the bridge fell. This hadn't been their original purpose. They'd all heard this calling by the ravine. They had been transformed. The innkeeper, listening to this, smiled but wasn't surprised, saying, "So it has been for all travelers who have stayed here. There are no more strangers now. All travelers are united and know the moment that changed their collective life. They're walking the path as one because of the loss and because of the renewal they share. All now who are on their way carry with them new strength, strengths of all kinds they discovered within themselves because the bridge fell. However anyone responded, all found some kind of power, and I believe it's this power which will save us. For all are headed to the building of that good city, unlike any city ever seen before in our history, to make a massive, graceful home that isn't there yet, but which is growing." The travelers were stunned, silent in deep wonder. They were part of a generation, a wave of travelers who would, in days to come, build a new domain of justice, peace, righteousness, and love, all because the bridge that they thought would be there had not been, and because they had chosen to respond. Exhausted and unsure of how to begin to manifest their future, but full of hope, they decided not to sleep yet and to make music until the night was over.
We can live our life like we're flying birds, all us little pieces moving as one, with no fear for the path that is gone, nor the path to come. The ones who reared us right and moved us on, every friend, every love. We are all discovering the same flight that the morning sun sings of. From my heart to yours, we are waves in the air. From my heart to your heart, there are messages everywhere. There are messages of the good things we can find together.
I am so proud to introduce this year's valedictorian, Aiden Delgas. I first met Aiden when he was in 7th grade, and we met to consider his parents' request that Aiden skip 8th grade and enroll in Weston High School in the fall of 2016. I remember that day vividly. Our collective decision to allow Aiden the opportunity to enroll early was exactly what he needed. Aiden's teachers describe him as a Renaissance man. He loves sciences, humanities, and the arts. He excels in learning and exploring new areas of study. I had the privilege to know Aiden through our WHS Builders Beyond Borders team, when we built classrooms for Haitian children and houses for Guatemalan families. I witnessed Aiden's caring and compassionate nature, both here and abroad. One afternoon in the Dominican Republic, I came across Aiden reading a thick novel. And when I asked him what he was reading, he shared with me how he never travels without 8 or 9 books, so that he always has something to do. What Aiden chooses to do is to continuously learn and push his thinking at any possible moment. Aiden Delgas was accepted to Stanford, but will defer for 1 year. The State Department has awarded him a scholarship to study in Korea through the National Security Language Initiative for Youth. Did I mention that Aiden taught himself Korean? Please join me in congratulating Aiden Delgas, our valedictorian.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about how I'm to greet you all. Hi, hello, asadu. I've spent so much time thinking about this because a greeting is both an invitation and an ultimatum, and we use greetings more wisely than we give ourselves credit for. Toss a few short words their way and you've sat your conversation partner down to speak, but you've also set the terms of the conversation quite clearly by which words you've chosen. This in mind, I'm going to choose to greet you like this. Glad you could make it. I'm glad that not only have all of you persevered through these past couple of months, but that you have made it to this moment. Over the course of more than a decade, in school and in life, you have stuck it out, and here we are. Let's face it, adolescence is a fun time for very few people. It is a time when we have so many things to be grateful for, but not yet enough years on this earth to know that. Scratch that. We know that, but feeling it is a whole other challenge. That is the great pain of youth, that not feeling what you know. And that creates in us this eagerness, this hunger to go out and fail and succeed and learn and feel to erase that discrepancy. One thing I know I'm already starting to feel as we prepare to part ways is how this small town and this excellent small school have given us a closeness that I wouldn't trade for anything else. I came to high school knowing little more than a few people, having skipped 8th grade and left all of my childhood friends in a building not much more than a couple hundred feet away. At times, though, that distance as I settled into an entirely new social world felt like a deep, invisible ocean. However, a beautiful thing happened as the months wore on. Now, I firmly believe that the older we get, the less we let socially divide us. And as the insecurities of adolescence eventually fell away, I found my close circle of friends, but I also found so many wonderful, friendly people on top of that. I realized that I had not lost a thing when I started high school. Instead, my eyes were open to the closeness of our community. I will never forget how happy it made me when classmates waved to me unprompted in the hall. In a way, not being the closest of friends, not knowing each other's deepest, darkest slumber party secrets made those moments even more powerful. This is why it was so heartbreaking to leave for the last months of senior year. I had worked my way from having fits of anxiety about where to sit at lunch to smiling at all the people I knew as we passed in the hall. I had gone from being utterly petrified by teachers to considering many as my friends. All of a sudden, the structure that had supported this fell away, and the best we got was Google Meets and irregular FaceTime calls with each other. The calendar for the fall and summer that we had been trained to take as holy gospel seemed suddenly so artificial and dependent on the elements. I had a mild sore throat one morning and feared I would spread it to my immune-compromised mother and be responsible for yet another leaf falling from the family tree. Now, I'm not going to claim to have figured it all out now, nor am I going to claim that everything is better. But I can say that I believe shared societal experiences like this, because I know I'm not alone in these struggles, drive cultural change for better or for worse. And I believe that when the dice are rolled, we are entitled to hope for sixes as we prepare for the dice to up and explode. I realize that I can't really offer advice from a place of wisdom. Rather, I can only speak to the very little I have seen and experienced so far. What I do know is that we are lucky here. Well, not lucky. That implies fortune via random chance. We in this community happen to be favored by a system that doesn't favor others. I wouldn't be doing my duty as a citizen of this nation if I didn't point out that not enough has changed over the years. As of today, Indigenous communities like the Navajo Nation stand as the hardest hit by COVID-19. As of today, we have lost George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, and many countless more Black Americans to police brutality. I'm not saying this merely to scold or berate. I am imploring the whole of Weston and America to use its resources to effect change. If I have learned any life lesson lately, it is not to give in to letting my happiness ride on an unreliable future. I spent far too long looking forward to this seminal moment, waiting for the seed to be planted and for things to begin. I'd be lying if I said this very ceremony wasn't one of those seminal moments. But I missed the point. Just like birthdays, just like other graduations that may lie in our futures, our high school graduation is a celebration, not a culmination. And that's what I want to leave you guys with today.
Greetings, class of 2020. As principal, I am honored to speak to you at this special celebration. Tradition never graduates. This banner hangs in our school's galleria, and athletic director Mr. Berkowitz reminds us of these words frequently. Although this phrase may appear to be associated with athletics, there is a deeper meaning behind these words. Tradition never graduates refers to what being a Weston High School graduate means. It also refers to that collective commitment that Weston has made to you so that upon your graduation, you are equipped with the necessary skills to be contributing members of our global society. Tradition never graduates. You are now young men and women prepared to contribute, eager for the next chapter of your lives. The entire staff K-12 strove to prepare you for this next chapter. Class of 2020, this spring there is a distinction as we were not there in person to support you. These last 3 months I wasn't there to greet you out in front of the school in the morning. We miss seeing you excel in spring sports and perform Cinderella. Your teachers worked with you via Zoom and Google Meets, and the last memory I have of being with members of this class was in New Orleans. I burst with pride hearing you perform at that jazz club. Class of 2020, you continue to hone your academic skills in our e-school environment. You replaced senior internship by designing your own projects. You found a way to participate in community service opportunities. You shared your music online and worked out virtually with your coaches. You came to terms with losing key senior events, and for that, I am so very sorry. You were leaders through your actions and determination. We will always remember the spring of 2020 and your class's place in history. I believe that this pandemic is our chance as a society to push the reset button. History is full of momentous events that have influenced the entire world. For my parents, who graduated in 1939, it was World War II. My dad was in the Army and fought in Guadalcanal, and my mom worked as a Navy nurse in a hospital in Washington. Upon their return to civilian life, their reset button was living a life centered on family, faith, and community service after the war. This is so much clearer to me now, at the ripe old age of 58, why they lived their lives a certain way after their momentous event. This pandemic is our reset button. It has given all of us the opportunity to reflect. Class of 2020, although you wished you could have been in the halls in Weston High School, you were able to spend quality time with your family. You gained a different appreciation of the small things that perhaps we often take for granted. Eating together because there were no crazy schedules. Watching Netflix, laughing, and yes, fighting with your siblings. Taking a walk, sitting around a fire pit, reading or rereading a favorite book, building a chicken coop, staining a piece of furniture, learning to bake bread, all kinds of things that wouldn't have happened because there was no time in our frenetic lives. There's a sign in my house that I read every day this spring. It's entitled House Rules and reminds me of what is important. I would like to share some highlights with you. Be nice and play fair. Help each other. Use your manners. Forgive quickly. Use kind words. Be generous. Try new things. Laugh every day. Respect others. Be yourself and never give up. House Rules is similar to that book, All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. And you had the best teachers at Hurlbut. Teachers like Ms. Quinn, Ms. Merrifield, Ms. Grasso, Ms. McNulty, and Mr. Hallgreen. Teachers who first taught you the message on our school shirts this year. Humankind, be both. Class of 2020, in my 35 years as a Weston educator, I could never have imagined the challenges of this spring and the necessity of fulfilling our commitment to you, that you would be prepared for the next step. As to the future, the words of Joseph Campbell, a professor of literature, said it best. We must be willing to let go of the life we have planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. This isn't what we planned or imagined, class of 2020, yet this is your life. Embrace it. I speak for the entire staff when I say that we wish you the best. We are counting on you to make a difference, and we know that you will make us proud. Thank you, and be well.
Beyond the voice that keeps insisting no, there is something more than doubting, breaking through the darkness, something that sets your world
Class of 2020, hear me clearly, hear me well. You have climbed a mountain never imagined, never wanted. You have persevered in ways remarkable to all of us. What you have accomplished this spring will be a touchstone for you at every moment of challenge the rest of your life. Embrace what you have done this spring. Remember what you have done. Be proud of what you have done. Take strength from what you have done. Now, every year, in every graduation, to every group of high school seniors, I close with the following statement. Our nation and our world need your leadership. Be peace, find peace, make peace. Go well, class of 2020, go well. Now it is my official role as superintendent to announce the certification of the class of 2020. By the authority vested in me by the Weston Board of Education in the state of Connecticut, and following the thorough review by Weston High School administrators and counselors, I certify that the members of the class of 2020 presented today to receive their Weston High School diplomas have met all graduation requirements as delineated in Weston Board of Education policy and state law. Congratulations, class of 2020. Congratulations.
In our final act as representatives of this class, we ask you, members of the class of 2020,
to please join us in turning your tassels from right to left to signify the start of our next chapter. Congratulations.
The word commencement is defined as a beginning, a start to a long journey, the mark of our entrance into a completely new adventure. Our beginning, however, will be different from the beginnings of those who have left the halls of Weston High School in the past. We are living through history, so of course, our commencement will be different. But what makes the class of 2020 unique is not the circumstances we are living through, but rather our ability to overcome them. We have literally been there for each other through every memorable moment in our lives. The rush of excitement entering the book fair at Harold Butt, our first delicious tastes of PJ's famous Italian ices during field day. We endured the crushing losses of Warrior Day, and we even witnessed the first ever state championship of our football team in Weston's history. But the class of 2020 is defined not by social distancing and distance learning, but rather the opportunity we have been given to grow up together. We have heard for years that Weston prepares you for college. The academic rigor of our curriculum has prepared us for the transition into university-level work, and the classes we have endured have sufficiently pushed us to think deeply and question logic. But most importantly, WHS has prepared us to be, simply put, good human beings. We are a family like no other grade, and I can confidently say that being a part of this community has made me a more caring, intelligent, and above all kind person. Weston has been preparing us for years to step into our unknown future with passion, vision, and purpose. Our biggest accomplishment is not the 95 we got in freshman year biology or the high scores we got on our writing portfolios. Rather, our greatest achievement is becoming the smart, hardworking, and considerate people we are today. And the best part of it all, we got to do it together. And so our ceremony has come to an end, but for each of my friends, this moment marks the beginning of great hope and adventure. On behalf of the class of 2020, I would like to thank all of the parents, siblings, teachers, and friends who have helped us get to this moment. We did it.
Oh, somebody might want to. Just as a fun. Oh my God, this is proud of you!
Congratulations.
So proud of you. You go that way.
Hayden Eli Lawrence.
They gotta wait. Hold the line. Hold up. Stay right here to give your parents a chance. Hold up, okay? Yep. Okay. Got it. Stand right over there.
McKenna E. Wiener. Marie. Isabel Marie Sanchez.
get back in the car? Come over here.
Ryan Charles Baronet. Tiana Penzolo Tondini. Thank you, Huskies! Elise Ann Russell.
Sorry. All right. Is it on? It's falling off a little, is it?
Yay, Russell!
All right. Thank you.
Okay, I was told that everyone can hear what I'm saying, so hello family. Hello. Yeah. Everything's falling apart. Everything's falling apart. That's what matters. Yay! Everything's falling apart. Over here, right here.
Rachel Grace Esslinger.
Thank you.
Matthew A. Lee Chin.
want to just hang out for like a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Just have your parents show up.